What's going on, my friends? Today we're talking about new Saga episode 10. And I'm going to talk about the show, right? It ends with, the big standoff between us and the demons, right? And, the girls are doing well against their demon counterpart, and everything is going, pretty well towards the end of the episode, at least so far. And we're going to see on what our hero Kyle is able to actually pull off and see if he can win the fight. Blah, 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 okay? The episode was it was a good episode. But here's the thing. They're stretching this fight to 2 episodes unneedingly. And one recurring theme on the channel that I do not like is when shows kind of stretch out material unneedingly. So this specific show stems from a light novel. And you guys can keep me, completely honest here. But the way I'm looking at it is there's 10 volumes. And I looked it up on my anime list, okay? So don't, again, I'm just going off of basic info. But there's 10 volumes. What 10 volumes tells me is that there's enough content here to not stretch out this fight. And when you have a 12-episode season, it just feels like a slap in the face to their viewers, when they basically come out. And this is Toei Video, and this is Studio Satsuo and Studio Clutch. I've never heard of either of those, to be honest. Let's see. Studio Clutch has done nothing. This is their first show. And Studio Satsu has done shows like... Oh, they've done Masame-kun's Revenge. The second season ruined the show. They've done Mao-sama. They've done Gamers. So they've done some, isekai with my smartphone. So they've done some really good shows, okay? But there's no need to stretch out the content. Now, you might say, well, maybe it's because, the next arc or the next thing happens. And I say to you, that's totally okay. Let's end on a higher note. Let's not stretch out thin content. And if we need to end on a cliffhanger, which we're going to do anyways, let's pick a better one. Let's honor our viewers. Let's pretend like they're paying us money, because we are. They're Crunchyroll and other shit. And even in Japan, their viewers are watching on TV where there's ads. They're getting ad money. There's ad revenue. And if there's cable, they're making a little spiff off the cable subscription and stuff like that too. But a lot of these shows are created because the light novel or the manga are still ongoing and they're trying to drum up more interest. Well, you're going to get your biggest bang for your buck. You're going to drive up the most interest if your show is really good. And today I watched the new episode of Shield Hero. I watched the Mikadono Sisters, and one of which was just excellent today. So it just makes it really apparent when you get a show, and it's just not. It's stretched out thin content, right? They fight the demons. We pick up last week. They fight this demon named 𝐒𝐻𝐴, and 𝐿𝐶𝐴 and 𝐼𝐻𝐴 are taking her on. They do okay, and Kyle takes on the other demon. I don't know what Mr. Horny Boy demon is, but he cuts off his horn on purpose, and he sets up another duel. He's like, okay, we'll come back in 3 days. If we win, you're going to tell us all the stuff. If we win, we'll give you this sword, all right? And the rest of the episode is them setting up with the Holy Sword stuff and the Mithril and the plans and 𝐿𝐶𝐴 and 𝐼𝐻𝐴 training, and we get a little montage. And again, waste of time. Unneeded. They spend way too much time on nothing. And then we finally get to the 3 days and we get to the fight. And we never see Kyle fight because the big thing is Kyle's going to go fight the horn guy. We got to save that for next episode because how dare we give them 2 fights in 1 episode. And then we get a fight between 𝐼𝐻𝐴 and 𝐒𝐻𝐴 and 𝐿𝐶𝐴. And the fight's okay. You know what I mean? 𝐒𝐻𝐴, the demon girl, she powers up. But then she kind of falls flat. It was just all for show because then the girls actually do pretty good against her, right? They do some tricky moves and stuff, but they do pretty good. And they kind of F her up a little bit. But the fight is just okay. So we get an okay fight. And then the bigger one, we don't get it. We don't get it all. Now, again, I don't want to shit on the show completely and be like, oh, this was the worst. Blah, 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 blah. No, it wasn't. It wasn't the worst anything. It was good. It was a solid 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10. It was decent to good, somewhere in that ballpark. It was a decent to good episode. But as we are closing the season, right, I just have higher expectations. Hey, this is one of the last 3 episodes we're getting for this show. How about we not stretch out thin content? Because I bet you in the light novel that this trading arc either doesn't exist or it's like half a page or something. It's like very small. I bet. And again, keep me honest. I'm just guessing. I'm bullshitting over here. But I'm guessing that the content, like they just stretched it out. And I don't know, it kind of sucks. So I would say it was decent, fine to good, somewhere around there. It was an okay episode. And next week we're gonna pick up with the Kyle versus this demon fight. Next week's episode is called Secret Red Hot Strategy. I'm assuming maybe Kyle's gonna try and use the energy in the dragon thing to overcome him, or maybe he'll just do it regardless, or maybe they'll find out about the demons. I don't know. But overall, the vibe I'm getting is, although the demons obviously cause a lot of turmoil in the past world, they're not completely evil. They just are fighting for a different reason. So maybe, and I don't think we're going to find out any of that this season, which kind of sucks. Maybe we will next episode. I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this episode. Comments down below. Maybe you're not thinking that deeply about anything. Maybe you just kind of watch the surface level. You're like, yeah, it's pretty good. And hey, if you feel that way, let me know in the comments why. Let me know what you think. Let me know all the deets in the comments. If you hated it, let me know that. If you loved it, let me know that. And of course, like before you guys leave. And I'll see you guys next week for the next episode of New Saga as we finish up the last 2 episodes of the season. All right, friends. Peace out.